Welcome back, adventurers, to the snowy north side of the continent. We're going back to Skyrim again to finish up our conversation about the main story of Skyrim, The Elder Scrolls V. I am your host.
Celebration hasn't ended.
The celebration hasn't ended. It's just going to keep on going. This is a party, a snow party, a wintry snow party in a wintry wonderland in a place called Skyrim. I am your host, Tom or Robots, and I'm here as usual with my wonderful co-host, the Lotus of the Doom. Welcome back, buddy.
Hello.
How's it going?
Things are pretty good. I've had a busy week, but I've managed to get in some Skyrim time, which I have very much enjoyed. It was just kind of a game dump all of a sudden because we got an ESO expansion for console. We got Skyrim 10th anniversary came out, and then Halo dropped. I was like, I don't have enough time for this.
What year is it? We're all playing Halo again and Skyrim again.
Right?
It's like,
oh my God.
We're going back in time. Yeah. Oh man, I played some Halo. I was terrible at it until I played enough to figure out what all the guns do and how the maps are laid out. And then
there's
all of a sudden,
guns I don't understand.
Yeah, then all of a sudden I got better. I got better at it. It was amazing. And then I have had a little bit of time this week to play some Skyrim. You know, my brain decided to attack me again, but I'm better enough to do the podcast tonight. So all's looking well. I've also had some time to spend some time playing around with some mods, which has been super fun. Some of the mods don't work because of the script extender being semi-broken. They're still working on it.
Yeah, it's in beta, correct?
It's in beta.
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of. Some of the stuff works, and I've played with it. But I did put out a video on the Robots Radio YouTube channel about some of the best mods that have come out in the last week. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. I went through the list on the Nexus mods page and pulled out all the mods that don't rely on any other mods and also don't rely on the script extender in order to run, and just went through all of the mods and just was like, okay, what mods are out there and which ones actually look good and are new, and showed everybody, hey, this is what's available, including the final mod on my video, which is probably my mod of the week. Mud crabs are Beavis. And they
all right.
Mud crabs they replaced all the sounds that mud crabs make with Beavis from Beavis and Butthead.
All right. I mean, I support this.
Which is by far the wackiest one that came out this week. But there's also some better ones like, glowy lanterns that you can wear and, some other upgrades, including swapping out the music from the game with the orchestra music from the London Symphony.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so there's some cool stuff out there. So if you guys want to go check that out, you can see what some of the new mods are that I recommend. That's up on the Robots Radio YouTube channel. And otherwise, I've been missing out on some of my morning streams because of, my migraines and my brain attacking me. But I'm looking forward to getting back to that this week as well. But for this episode right now, we've got the rest of the main quest line to discuss because we left off on a Blade in the Dark, and we are up to the 8th quest in the main quest line, Diplomatic Immunity. Do you remember this one, Lotus?
Diplomatic Immunity. I don't off the top of my head.
Well, here, let me give you a primer on this one. This one is one of the most unique quests in the main quest line because you go to Delphine, the former Blade, and she says, hey, buddy, I think the Thalmor have something to do with this because those Thalmor, I don't trust them. They're hunting us blades down, and they probably have something to do with bringing these dragons back. They're having a party. We better infiltrate the party and see if we can find out what's going on.
Yeah. And
remember this?
Now it's like, yep, I definitely do remember this because this was actually a really unique quest in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, this quest plays out way more like a Dark Brotherhood quest or a Thieves Guild quest because they take away all of your items. They give you some party clothes. And I remember by the time I played this quest, I was like super powerful. I had a bunch of awesome gear. I could sneak around. I could take on anything. And they reduce you to like, nope. All those cool items you have, all that awesome gear, all that item, all that like armor. Nope, no good. Here's some party clothes. Here's an invitation. Go up to the front door, walk in.
Which I specifically remember that because I can't stand when games do that to me. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Brief tangent, but like Bethesda related, Dead Money, I believe it was called, in Fallout New Vegas. That entire expansion, they strip you of your stuff.
Yeah.
And it made me so mad.
Yeah.
I don't like earning stuff and then having it taken away. It just makes me want to smash uncontrollably. So then I need to get my stuff back so I can smash uncontrollably. It's a horrible catch-22.
Right. Yeah. That's considered one of the most difficult expansions too, because of that, because you could be very high level and all of a sudden all your stuff's gone. So yeah, you end up on this quest, and there's multiple ways to play through this. You can go sneaky through it. You can talk to everybody at the party. There's a lot of who's who at the party. We're not going to go through all the details, but it's very interesting because there's a bunch of Thalmor, and of course they're very snooty and they talk down to you about everything, unless you show up as an Altmer, and if you pick up some Thalmor robes, then they treat you very differently. But there are some who's who among the elite of Skyrim at this party as well. And depending on the things that you've already done in the game up to this point, those individuals will change out. So,
which I love that little. It's such a small flavor thing, but it's so cool that the game does that. ESO actually has several things when you're building armies that happens. Like certain people will be there or not be there, depending upon if you've worked with them already and stuff like that. So it's like the series kind of is known for that. I love that just because it makes your playthrough a little more unique.
Right. So you meet this wood elf guy, Malburn, and he gets involved with this as well. He's helping you through this event. And you end up sneaking around trying to find out, okay, what do the Thalmor have going on here? Do they have something to do with these dragons? You come to find out, they also are investigating what's going on with the dragons, and they don't know what's going on. But they have some other secret, and the secret that they are holding on to is that they have a prisoner down in the dungeon underneath this manor. Do you remember finding this out?
Yeah. Because this is as kind of your, I don't know. This is, from what I remember, the first kind of like real in-depth dive you get with some of the Thalmor themselves, other than just they exist type of deal. And it sort of relates kind of their, what's a good word for it? Tyranny, some of their nefarious military tactics that they've got going on kind of comes to light with this party in general.
How dark they are, the lengths they'll go to.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you got to do some sketchy stuff to, do something good in the long run. But being that in general, it was like you get a bad vibe from them and it just really kind of solidifies at this party.
Right. So the guy downstairs that they are torturing is Etienne Rarness. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. R-A-R.
Try to help you with the pronunciation of that. Good job. You did it.
R-A-R-N-I-S. He's a Breton rogue, and he they're basically trying to get information from him about an old man. Where is this nameless old man? And they're trying to find out, where is this old man? Well, turns out this old man is another blade who has survived them scouring the countryside trying to kill all of the blades. And it turns out that there's one more left alive. And so after going through all of this, freeing him, and so there's multiple ways you can actually go through all of this quest and actually get down there and save him. You can just run through and kill everybody. You can sneak around and save him. You can pretend to be one of the Thalmor. Actually, there's lots of different ways you can do this. And once you get done with this, you go back to Delphine, and you explain to her, hey, this is what I found out. They don't know much about the dragons, but looks like there's this other blade guy around. And she's like, what? Another blade? I thought they killed all the other blades. And so that leads to the next quest. And the next quest is called A Cornered Rat. So you're led to Esbern. Do you remember who Esbern is?
Yes. Esbern is you'll specifically, I was going to say he's your contact, but the crazy guy in the Ratway.
Yes.
It's called the Ratway, right? That's
right.
The name of the, not getting to the Thieves Guild, but the crappy sewer system under Riften on the way to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you head to Riften, you go through the Thieves Guild. If you've done the Thieves Guild stuff, they're familiar with you. If you haven't, you get to meet them. You find out that there's this crazy guy down under the Ratway. Esbern is down there, and Esbern has been hiding out. He was a blade, and he's this old dude, and he's got some information. So that happens. You meet him. He seems kind of crazy. He's got this door with this little slidey window. Do you remember this little slidey window? And you talk to him, and he's like, "Hold on 1 minute. I have to take care of something." Closes the window, right? And he goes rummages around, and he finally lets you in. Well, you take him back to everybody, and it turns out that he says, "Hey, I've got some information about a prophecy. There's a thing called Alduin's Wall, where there's a prophecy." And so that leads to the next step, and you go on the next quest, which is called Alduin's Wall.
So one quick thing before we tackle Alduin's Wall, this is just, it's related, but kind of like just, so Esbern, as is kind of not lore breaking, but fourth wall breaking, as opposed to us discussing the game. One of the big things that I just think is worth mentioning, because the voice actor who voices Esbern is awesome. And the voice actor himself is Max von Sydow, I believe is how you say it. But he actually passed away in 2020. So like there were a whole bunch of tribute things to him. And it was just, I wanted to shout that guy out because he is such a good voice actor. Like he will sorely be missed that he can't voice anything past Esbern, because like Esbern is such a memorable character voice wise because of his work. So like, yeah, it's just one of those things. I ended up finding other stuff that he had done as a result of actually being curious before who voiced Esbern. So
yeah, well, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Great character. So it's like, yeah, just wanted to shout out the actor who did pass away last year, but super good voice actor.
Right. Well, that's cool. That's so this next part, you head over to find Alduin's Wall. So you reunite the blades.
Yep.
They talk about where you need to go. You head over to Karthspire, to Karthspire Camp, where you come across the Forsworn, potentially a Hargraven or Hagraven as well. And you have to fight through them. This could be particularly difficult, potentially. You get through them. You find some pillars that mean Dragonborn with symbols on them.
Yep.
Of course, there's some traps and things. You find your way through. And what's interesting here is that there's even a section here that has something to do with the Akaviri, which I don't know. I think it's kind of this interesting thing, because you're going to Skyhaven Temple. And you're finding these Akaviri ruins, which is interesting because everything ties together with all the different histories. And in the second era, we know that the Akaviri invaded at the beginning of the second era, and then were kind of repelled.
They were, but then also you have the Akaviri influence to the blades themselves, as most of what the blades wear is modified Akaviri armor. So there's also that long-standing tie-in of the blades, kind of being dragon slayers, but also having Akaviri origins, or not even necessarily that they were, Akaviri necessarily, but there's definitely influence there. So.
Right. So it's interesting. So this part comes directly from the UESP wiki. So Skyhaven Temple in the section about this in the wiki, it says, heading up to the stone steps on the right, you'll be confronted with a trio of 3-sided pillars, each side inscribed with a symbol. According to Esbern, they are of Akaviri origin, but the one that matters most to you is the symbol meaning Dragonborn. This symbol resembles 2 dragon heads facing each other and an arrow pointing down. Activate all 3 pillars until this symbol is facing you. This will lower the bridge to your left, allowing you and the blades to continue. It's interesting because these symbols and Esbern understanding the Akaviri origin of this is actually very interesting, and yet there's still the Dragonborn meaning. This combination of Akaviri symbolism with Nordic, ancient Nordic mythology, like all coming together, is kind of this weird mix.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand all of that originally when I played through that, because this was 10 years ago when I first played through it, which is kind of cool. So of course you get down here, you get to the Alduin's Wall, which another fun point to note, Nate Perkypile, who is or was the lead, one of the lead artists over at lead designer and artists, and one of the lead light guys. And he did a lot of different things over at Bethesda. And he was there for 14 years. When he worked at Bethesda during Skyrim, one of the projects he worked on was designing Alduin's wall. He took the actual artwork and the stuff that is that was originally like the design work, like what's the word for it when people do artwork and before it goes in the game, the
like the outline,
the concept
art.
Yeah, the concept art. And then he turned it into the like actual stuff that is in the game, which was really cool. So
yeah.
I
love some of the art stuff to these games. Abstract Fact, Jonah Loeb, another one of the lead artists, actually, who I've had the pleasure of having several different conversations with via Twitter and everything like that. Very cool bits of things like giants are based on actually his father. That's the art design for the facial construction. And then he just kind of like modified it so that it looked different. And if I remember correctly, I can't remember if it's dragon or carved Nordic, that if you actually look at the dragon script, it's his signature. That's what it actually says in Dragon. Yeah, he like signed himself into the art. It's just, I think it might have been carved Nordic, but whatever the case, really, really cool that it's just like, oh, there's all these little like tidbits to the art that's just like there. And it's like, oh, you've got, this is based on concept art. This is based on somebody's father. Like, it's so cool what makes up the game that we actually all realize is just this fantasy world.
Yeah. So getting to Alduin's wall, they read the inscriptions. They find out that Alduin was able to be fought with a shout that was used against him. And this leads them to understand that they need to go back to the Greybeards and visit the Greybeards. And you leave the two Blades, who basically at this location, who are like enamored with everything there, and you head off to go visit the Greybeards.
Yeah.
And that's where this part of the adventure ends for them, I guess. I don't remember. Yeah. Do you come across them again later?
I mean, I know they kind of chill up at the temple. So like,
seems to be like the last place you see them.
Yeah. I mean, you can go back and visit them at the temple, but I don't remember them specifically leaving the temple area. So I don't know. I always remember when I bumped back into them that they're chilling over there and they don't like it if you make a certain decision at the end of the game, which we'll get into at the end. Right.
So that's where you end up with that. And then you decide, okay, well, gotta go back to the Blades. And now's a good time for us to go thank our patrons. So we'll be right back.
The skies are marked with numberless sparks, each a fire and every one a sign.
This is the part of the show where we get to thank all 54 of our patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you to every single one of you for helping to support the show and to make this keep on going and be a thing that can happen every week. I very, very much appreciate all of you. And a special thanks to Daniel O'Sullivan and Noodle Al Dente, our Daedric princes. You guys get shout outs every week because you are our tier 5 patrons. And I can't say thank you enough. You guys are amazing. We have just a few weeks left, or just one more week left. But next week is Thanksgiving. So we're going to have to come up with a different day in order to do our patron episode. Lotus, next week is Thanksgiving, so we can't really do a patron episode on Thanksgiving. That's gonna be weird. So maybe we should push it off to Friday night. Is Friday night?
I think I could probably manage that. I was gonna say I don't see any reason off the top of my head why that wouldn't work. So we might just do it a day late. I'd be fine with that. Just so we don't have to miss it, type of deal.
Yeah, I'd hate to miss it. And I think a lot of our patrons, not all of our patrons are necessarily American based, but a lot of them are. So why don't we do that? We'll push next week's episode to the 26th at 9 p.m. It'll be a Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. So that would be 6 p.m. Pacific. And if you can join us then, that would be amazing. Think about what you guys want to talk about. I think it would be awesome to reminisce about the first time we played Skyrim, some of our first impressions about the game. Since this is a big 10-year anniversary Skyrim celebration. That would be a fun topic. If you guys have any other topic ideas, feel free to let me know and, share some ideas on the Discord. And also, if you've enjoyed the show and you've thought about supporting, this show, then we've done anything to help you get through your workday or your drive to work or your workout or the time that you've spent contemplating how to avoid awkward conversations during Thanksgiving, then go to patreon.com/Elder Scrolls Lorecast and check out all the different tiers that you can support us at and all the different things that you can get, like ad-free episodes and getting episodes early and joining us on future episodes of the show and even getting merch, which is going out very, very soon to so many of you guys who help support the show. So go check that out. And thanks again to all of our patrons. You guys are amazing.
Yes, you're entirely brilliant. Conquering madness and all that. Blah, 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 blah.
So, here we are.
And as we leave, the temple, one of the things that I actually thought was kind of neat. So again, it's always rough to do video to audio thing. So apologies as the description will exist. But
Sure.
there is actually, I assume there's probably some way to still get them, but I have this thing that I grabbed in the break actually. And for a brief period of time, they actually put Alduin's wall on a fleece blanket.
Oh man.
And it is such a cool design when you get to actually look up at it. It's oftentimes kind of crumpled up on the background of my streams or while we're here recording. That's actually what it is next to the Imperial Dragon that I have as a light blocker for the back window. The blanket next to it is actually Alduin's wall crumpled up.
Aw. Does Boots cuddle with it?
Yes, she does. That's generally why it's there. If she wants a blanket, I give her Alduin's wall.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, on with the adventure. You leave Alduin's wall and the cuddle blanket, and it's such a cuddly wall.
It's a very adorable wall.
And you head back over to visit your old Greybeard friends, and up at Skyhaven Temple, and they teach you a new shout. You have to turn over the horn of Jorgenvind caller.
Ah, good. Swedish chef has returned.
Yeah, it's back. And they give you the final word for unrelenting force. And you also get the this is where you get the rend, or which one is this? The
is this Dragon Rend?
I think this is Dragon Rend. This is where you get Dragon Rend, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that could be.
Yep. This is where you get Dragon Rend.
I get them in. Yeah, it could be Dragon Rend. Yeah.
Yep. This is where you get Dragon Rend, and then you also meet up with Parthenax here.
Sure do.
Yep. Good old Mario.
Yes. Speaking of voice actors,
yep.
That is one of the best pieces of random trivia.
Yes. Anybody who doesn't know, the same voice actor does Mario's voice and also does Parthenax's voice, which is such a range. Such a wonderful range.
Madness.
Yep. So, so you talk to him, and then you also shoot him with fire breath, and you have kind of a discussion with him. Yeah, of course. But that's how dragons talk. You just yell, and
that's true.
Dragon conversation is yelling in battle. That's how they talk to each other.
Yeah.
So that
literally in the dragon language, yelling does solve everything. So
it literally does.
It actually solves everything.
That is how it works. You get Dragon Rend later. Is that how that works?
Is this where you get the time travel one?
Yeah. I probably should have read over this a little bit better before I got to this point. It says,
I don't remember the exact order. Okay.
To help you know, ultimately, he tells you that the shout used to end. Oh, this is where you learn the shout is called Dragon Rend, but you don't get it yet.
Right.
You only get the unrelenting force. Thank you, Rob the Princess. That's right.
Thank you very much.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I don't remember the order that you get things in. I wasn't browsing through the entire
Yep.
So perfect. There you go.
I didn't note that part particularly. I thought I would remember it, and then I didn't. So thank you, Rob the Princess. We only do the best show notes here.
Of course.
At the show. So that part's done when you talk to Parthenax, Party Snacks.
Party Snacks.
We get done talking to Party Snacks, and then you move on to a quest called that one was called The Throat of the World, which I love that phrase. That's
a great phrase, term, title, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So now you move on to Elder Knowledge. And this is the one where you have to go find an Elder Scroll.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. I love that the actual Elder Scrolls figure in to usually the main quest lines of so many of these games.
They do. Well, they're usually really, I mean, I would hope. They didn't really exist in the first game very much, but
the fact that like they're so dangerous to read and yet you still have to go get them. And
you still gotta deal with them.
And then like read them or like use them in some specific way.
Yep. I mean, the game doesn't carry on after you've gone blind. So
sure.
Once you save the world as a Dragonborn, nothing says you didn't suffer from blindness after this heroic adventure.
Yeah. So, right. So, basically you're given an option here where so if you choose to question I'm going to mess up his name, Arngir, about obtaining an Elder Scrolls, you'll find him inside High Hrothgar. He'll be reading, meditating, or sleeping. Arngir. I should just do funny accents for all their names. It'll help cover up the fact that I can't pronounce their names
every time.
Arngir is more skeptical than Esbern about the necessity of learning the Dragonrend shout, and when asked how one would find an Elder Scroll, he will vehemently protest, "Such blasphemies are the calling of mages, not followers of the way."
Oh, God.
I did pretty good on that one. "Take your question to the College of Winterhold." So
this is an experience.
He sends you over to the College of Winterhold, right?
Yeah, so you go to the College of Winterhold.
But instead of going to him, you could visit Esbern, and if you choose to visit Esbern, you will find him outside Skyhaven Temple, where he and Delphine can be seen staring into the horizon. Esbern recalls a strange dream he once had about Alduin. After his story, Esbern will greet you as if he only just realized your presence. "Ah, you're back. I hope you've made some progress on tracking down this shout. We need to defeat Alduin." That's good impression, right?
That's all right. Yeah, that's
spot on.
What? Spot on Esbern right there. Know, I was talking about what a good voice actor was. It's like he's still with us after that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and then he basically says, "Oh yeah, go to the College of Winterhold." And so you end up visiting our good buddy Urag Groshub.
Groshub.
Yeah, the
old Groshub.
Yeah, good old library guy.
Yep.
Our furry-faced library orc in the college.
I love how aggressive he is about books.
Oh, dude loves his books.
Loves his books.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically he's like, "Hey, yeah, you got to go get an Elder Scroll. That sounds like a crazy idea, but all right, I'll help you." Right.
Side note, the Arcanium is such a cool library.
Yes, absolutely.
Just I love the design of that place. It's not super huge, which I assume it would probably be much bigger if it was to scale instead of a video game, but it's just a really cool place. I love the Arcanium.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So basically you can ask him a bunch of questions about the Elder Scrolls, to which he replies to you like you're an idiot and tries to explain you things. And he's just like, "Fine. Okay, good. I'll help you. Whatever."
To be fair, my character usually is an idiot. So, I mean, I'm talked to appropriately.
Right. So you go basically on this other series of quests, and you start a concurrent quest called Discerning the Transmundane by opening this book, Septimus Cygnus, which starts this quest. When you tell Urag that Cygnus's book is incomprehensible, he explains that Septimus Cygnus is a specialist in Elder Scrolls lore, but he has not been back to the college for some time. He mentions that Cygnus became obsessed with the Dwemer and took off north to study the artifacts. So now you got to go find that guy. So basically these are like, "Hey, you go do this thing. Now you got to go do this thing. Now you got to go do this thing.
Now go track down the next one."
So yeah, you track down this guy. He sends you off to this other place. You find him. He's at this Dwemer structure. You talk to that guy. You go off to this Dwemer structure. There's this expedition thing. There's just like this whole series of just like, go here, do this, go here, do this, go here, do this, go here, do this. And then
they're not exactly fetch quests, but there's a lot of going from point A to point B throughout this to progress you along.
Right. And so to skip ahead a little bit, you end up visiting like Dwemer structures. Offland, a lost expedition. You go into a Dwemer mechanism, and then eventually you end up in Blackreach, and then, ta-da! You enter the Tower of Mzark, and you find a room looking for some minor loot, and then the smithing book skill, the Armorer's Challenge, is located in the west-facing room. There's a bunch of other stuff in here, blah, 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 blah. And a journal with, where's the stuff here? The light of the knowledge through the machine rests in the cube. The echoes of the words Septimus Cygnus. The Dwemer found a loophole, as they always do, to focus the knowledge away and inside without harm. Place the lexicon into the contraption and focus the knowings into it. With these 2 tips in mind, head up to the last slope where you will find 4 buttons and a lexicon receptacle. Place the blank lexicon in a receptacle and watch the ceilings of the room open, shining light onto the container beneath. This also activates the 2 buttons on the right. So all these mechanisms go clickety, clickety, clack. And then more buttons open up.
That's an incredibly convoluted way of saying that you now have a light puzzle.
Right. Like all of this stuff opens up. And then once you reach the floor, it opens up and reveals, ta-da! The legendary Elder Scroll.
Yep.
So basically, this is just like a whole fetch questy series of things to get like this little mechanism to open up, and there's a scroll inside. That was super clear, wasn't it? That was a really good explanation.
Well, and to be fair, the majority of that is you're reading the thing and then you're just, it's a light beam puzzle. They're in a million different games. It looks really cool with the Dwemer contraption. It's kind of like if you've played ESO at all, the clockwork sphere that things are in, like that type of, they're circles within circles of brass, and it's got gems on them, and those reflect the light. And that's what the puzzle itself kind of is you're reflecting stuff around. It's kind of a neat little puzzle.
Yeah. So,
and then as a result, you get a cool ass Elder Scroll.
Yeah. So you get the Elder Scroll. And so as soon as you claim this Elder Scroll, this next quest pops up, Alduin's Bane. And this starts a quest where it sends you back to the Throne of the World, and Party Snacks is waiting for you.
Yep.
So you go up the lift, you head back out of Blackreach, and you find yourself heading back up there, and you travel back to the Throne of the World, and Party Snacks is very impressed with you. He says, can you do a Party Snacks impression?
I most certainly cannot.
I can't either. You have it.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's just super deep voice. I have no idea. He's just, again, much better voice actor. Voice acting is not one of my skills.
The Elder Scroll, Tid Krith, Kalos. Time shudders at its touch. There is no question. You are doom-driven, Kogan Akatosh. The very bones of Earths are at your disposal. Go forth, fulfill your destiny. Take the scroll of the Time Moon. Do not delay. Alduin will be coming. He cannot miss the signs.
So this is where you actually...
I'm not going to lie. All right. So in all earnest, maybe not Parthenax, but you definitely pulled off the ability to do it. Like, I could see you being a dragon.
Low voice dragon guy?
Yeah, you could totally have pulled off like a different dragon.
All right. Well,
maybe not Party Snacks, but like one of the ones they pull out of a mound.
Okay, well, thanks. Yeah, so you actually open up the scroll here, and you see like the crazy lines and stuff, and then you don't go blind because you're like the player, so that's cool.
Yeah, you don't get the knowledge crazies yet.
You don't get the knowledge crazies, yeah, and then you see into the past with you're actually viewing the Merithic era, which is pretty freaking cool because that's like a long freaking time ago. Yeah. And you see Hakon, One Eye, Gormlaith, Golden Hilt, and a dragon. And they're fighting the dragon, and they're using this shout, Dragon Rend, to fight this dragon. And then you come back out of this vision, and you've now seen and heard Dragon Rend.
Yep. So, I mean, it's the equivalent of you reading it off a wall and learning it. Now it's just like it's fused with you. So, same principle.
Yeah, that's close enough. But I mean, you kind of experienced it secondhand.
You learn through osmosis.
Osmosis, through vision osmosis.
Yeah, there you go. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Opticmosis.
Opticmosis.
Take that, Michael Kirkbride. I can make up things too. Nemospores.
There you go. So, directly after that, you arrive back at the present. Alduin will appear, and he starts yelling stuff. And one of the things that he yells is, "My belly is full of the souls of your fellow mortals, Dovahkiin. Die now and await your fate in Sovngarde." And then Party Snacks shows up, like stands up to him and says, "Lost Funt." He calls him a Funt.
I don't even... That's like almost a swear.
Almost?
It's like almost
it's like two swears,
but not
mushed into one.
Yeah,
if you think
it's like
about
when
it.
people yell "enwa" at you, and I'm like, "Is that? You're close to offending me. How dare you?"
Yeah, and then he says, "You are too
Let us
late,
duel."
Alduin. Dovahkiin, use Dragon Rend if you know it." He kind of puts you on the spot, right? And then they start flying around and fighting, and then you have to use Dragon Rend, and then Alduin gets kind of taunty and says, "Dovahkiin, you call yourself arrogant mortal." And then he yells dragon words at you. "I will feast on your soul in Sovngarde. You are no match for me, Jur." He calls you a Jur. Whoa. "Parthenax is weak. I am strong. My time has come again." And then he says more dragon words. "I have feasted on many greater than you. You will pay for your defiance." And then
you rend him up good.
Yeah, then you rend him up real good.
Yeah, you rend him up real good because you're way better than he is.
Yeah, and then when you finally get him all the way down to no health, he says, "Maze Mool, Dovahkiin, you have become strong, but I am Alduin, firstborn of Akatosh. Malagi Zak Lot, I cannot be slain here by you or anyone else. You cannot prevail against me. I will outlast you, mortal." And then he flies off.
Yep.
And he's like,
big talk from somebody who just left.
"Invincible boss mode. You can't kill me." And then, he just like leaves. And then you're like, well, that sucks. Invincible boss mode. What the heck is this? So, you remember what happens after that?
After our epic battle, where do we go after our epic battle? That was a better fight of the world. So that bumps us on to the next quest, the Fallen, correct?
The Fallen, yeah.
Yeah. And that's where we need to, yes, I was going to say.
You got to come up with a plan. What are we gonna do?
you got to get some information here because there's got to be a way to take out Alduin. So you might as well go mess up one of his little buddies and drill him for some information.
All right, this is, you get a little bit involved with the Civil War here, which has or hasn't played out at this point. You got to get some chatty with some powerful people.
Right.
And you got to get some permission here to use a special dragon capture device.
And it turns out there's more of a reason to the name for what do you call it? The name of the Dragon Reach in White Run. Oh God, I'm doing what you did last time.
Yeah, right.
Names.
They all just kind of mush together. They really do.
Mushing them all together.
Yeah.
And it turns out that there's like more of a reason to that than at first you might have realized, which is kind of neat because it's got an ancient dragon control. Well, not controlling, but it's like enslaving device. It's
like a dragon trap. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a dragon trap. It's a big old dragon trap.
Yep. Yeah. So you get permission from the Jarl, and basically you set up a trap for Odaving.
Yeah.
And
super random. His card art in Elder Scrolls Legends is one of my favorites. He's a very cool dragon.
Right.
And he's not as problematic as some of the other dragons in this game after a while. A little more controllable.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he just kind of turned on the boss. You capture him and you're like, tell me where Alduin went. And he's like, fine, all right.
Yeah, it's like, all right, cool. And I'll even take you there. It's like, what? All right.
All right.
That was easier than I thought.
Yeah. So you get the info from him. You basically use Dragon Ren to like capture him. You like lure him in, you lock him down, and then he can't get out. And then you basically convince him to tell you where he went. Because I mean, he doesn't want to get his soul sucked out by the Dovahkiin.
No, he's not necessarily like cowardly, but he turns real quick. It does not even require that much effort to get him to turn.
He knows he's not winning this one. So yeah. So that's done. And then you set Odahviing. I want to say Odahviing, but Odahviing free. And this starts the next quest, the World Eater's Eyrie. Now, an eyrie is like the nest of an eagle, which is of course interesting because they use eyrie. I wonder if eyrie is interchangeable for like a dragon's nest.
I mean, that would make sense.
It would make sense.
Yeah, it totally fits.
Right. So we're down to like the last few quests here. This is it. So you've got to battle through Skyhaven Temple. Did I say that right?
Yeah, no, that pronunciation was spot on.
Okay.
The accent's really what makes sense.
Perfect. So you can't take any followers with you on these last two quests. They can't fight alongside with you. They cannot carry your burdens.
Yeah. So fill them up with trash before you leave.
Fill them with trash. And you can never come back here. So you need to take anything you want with you. And so you set Odahviing free. And upon arrival at the Skyhaven Temple courtyard, you'll encounter 2 dragons and multiple Draugr. And then you can battle or sneak your way through. And then you get to the temple. And then you enter the temple area. And basically, you fight your way through. You do some puzzles. You make your way through into there. And then you end up in a rocky platform where you first enter Skyhaven. And you have to fight a bunch of Draugr. And then a dragon priest named Nahkrin. Not Nahkrin.
I'd say Nahkrin, but I have no idea.
Nahkrin.
Sure, I like it. Yep.
Right.
You say it with enough accent, nobody can really discern what you're saying.
Which is cool because like you fight dragon priests all over the place, but this guy, like, this is just like where this dude lives, and he's in your path.
He's just chilling.
He's just like in your path, main quest line path.
Yep.
Dragon priest. And he's got like a shocky staff. So that's pretty cool.
And his Draugr minions that are whatever.
Right. So you get through him and you kill him, and of course you can take his mask, and then dude's like dead.
Dude is like dead.
And you remember where we go now?
It's portal time. You got to actually go for your final epic battle.
Yeah. This quest is called Sovngarde. Because you go to Sovngarde. They nailed it with the name of this one.
I really think that name is a little misleading, honestly.
Oh man. So you head into Sovngarde. You go to the misty land of Sovngarde where it's filled with Nord warrior statues, where all good Nords go when they die, because this is now where Alduin decided to go.
Yeah, he went to Nord Heaven.
He just wanted to like chill out in Nord Heaven.
Yep.
And he's just like chilling there because he decided you can't kill him in Skyrim, so he's going to go to Nord Heaven, where if you do kill him, he'll actually die. Seems like a safe place to be just like hiding out.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the whole Sovngarde thing. It's really neat that you get to somehow travel to basically the land of the dead for Nords, and then obviously leave it unless you get killed and the game ends. But I don't know. It seems like in a situation where you have all of the most heroic fighters who have passed on, it's a weird location to choose to hold up.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of potential threats of some of the best fighters that Skyrim has to offer and the Nordic race. It's just like certainly a choice.
Right. Well, here's my theory on this. Alduin is devouring souls. That seems to be what he's doing. He just threatened to devour your soul, right? Yep. So where is he going to find more souls to devour than in Sovngarde?
Sure. And I guess on that theory, these would be I guess, in soul currency, pretty valuable souls, I would assume.
Right. So,
that makes sense. I could see that if he's going in for snacks.
Right. Yeah. He just fought the Dovahkiin and wasn't defeated.
Right.
Like the Dovahkiin couldn't kill him.
Yes.
And so he's feeling all high and mighty, right? He couldn't beat the Dovahkiin, but the Dovahkiin couldn't defeat him either.
Yeah.
And he couldn't take the Dovahkiin's soul. So he's going, well, I might as well go just eat a bunch of souls of people who are already dead. Right. And again, quality souls, it seems like, because they're already in Sovereign Guard. So they're the best of the best. Yep. So he heads into Sovereign Guard. I could see it. Yep. You follow him in, and you encounter historical figures like High King Torvig, or Torig, and Svaknir. And then you guys just talk and stuff if you want, but Alduin's just like swooping around and stuff, and you fight him. Yeah. And you also the fog clearing, and like you fight him in the mists and stuff like that. It's a pretty cool setting for the final showdown. Yeah, it is pretty cool. It's a really cool looking location. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So inside this location, you're also greeted by Iskramor of the Companions, which is also a really cool person to meet, because he is like mythical status, heroic figure of lore. Yep. So also very cool. Again, didn't realize how cool that was when I first played through this. Sure. So you meet him. You also meet Gormlaith, Goldenhilt, Hakon One Eye, Feldir the Old, and among other famous people, Jurgen Windcaller, Olaf One Eye. I like how the Old is a title, which normally would, like, it's such a generic title, but when you think about it, and some of the jokes that we've made before about how brutal like life is in the world of Tamriel and everything like that, honestly, getting the title of the Old just means you have succeeded for a long time, which in and of itself is an accomplishment, because people life expectancy is a real thumbs down in this world. Right. Do you think he was called the Old while he lived, or do you think he was only called the Old after he died? I assume that he might have gotten it toward the end of his lifespan, but he was maybe just called the Forgettable until all of a sudden he got old enough that he upgraded his title. the Young. He was the Young for a while. He was the Young. Then he was the middle-aged. Then he was the Old. The average life expectancy. Oh boy, I did it. And then you also meet Ulfgar the Unending. Which is ironic, being that he's in Sovereign Guard, because he ended. Yes, very ironic. Although Sovereign Guard is kind of unending. I mean, he's unending in his new setting, but his previous, unless maybe they gave him the title after his previous cycle had ended. Maybe. So you meet with these guys, the three heroes that you met before, and then they decide to join shouts with you to clear the mist from Sovereign Guard. Right. And then very cool effect. Yeah. Then the quest ends with you running out to join them near the Misty Valley. Very pretty. Gonna get copyright struck. I don't know what song that is. But that's from The Little Mermaid. That's the Little Mermaid song. Oh yeah, it is. Disney will kill us. Disney will murder me in my sleep and eat my children. Yep, that sounds like Disney. So the final quest is called Dragon Slayer. This is where you meet up with the heroes. You leave the Hall of Valor, cross the Whalebone Bridge. How did they get a whale in Sovereign Guard? I don't know what a whale does to make it to Sovereign Guard. Well, it's just his bones. So I assume that whale had a lot of calcium, which made him better than other whales. He was just a really good Nordic whale. Yeah, he was just a really good Nordic whale. Also, wow, I actually never made this connection until just now, and I have no idea if it's a connection that matters or means anything. Probably not, but it's just something that I had never considered. When you're playing through Skyrim in the Elder Scrolls Online, there's a side quest. It is a super side quest, as in like a trivial thing on the banks of a river. Like, this is not important whatsoever. But one of the people mentions something. Actually, I think it was one of the things that linked to telling you about Skyrim. So it actually might have been right before Skyrim hit Elder Scrolls Online. But either way, there's a side quest where there's a Nord who's
basically on a bunch of drugs, talking about like sky whales, and I wonder if this has any relation to there being some type of like, I mean, because there's the whale symbol on that we've already discussed before, and it's one of the what do you call those things when you're doing the Nordic rune puzzles?
Yeah.
One of the symbols is a whale. So maybe this is just like
symbols usually.
Right. So it's like maybe this is just like the high mucky muck whale. Like this one made it to Skyrim or to Sovereign Guard. I mean,
yeah, maybe it was like the whale that was like one of the Aedra whale. The Aedra took that whale as its form.
Yeah,
and that was like, or it like inhabited that whale. At some point.
This is the whale from those, Nordic carvings that you have to solve the puzzle with.
It is this whale. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Harold P. Whale.
So what? Yeah. So they blow all the mist out of the way. You cross the whale bridge. You fight Alduin. You use Dragon Ren to force him to the ground where you can actually hit him. But then you just basically just go all ham on him. You throw fire at him. You hit him with all your magic or all your weapons or whatever you got.
Yep.
Right. And then after you strike the killing blow, Alduin wreathes in agony as his soul begins to vanish. Alduin thrashes on the ground as his soul leaves his corporeal form. As his essence drains away, a black tar-like skeleton is revealed underneath. His form continues to corrode, fading into wisps. And with a final thunderous spasm, Alduin is torn apart. Not even his skeleton remains in this afterlife.
So again, dead.
Dead.
And this is our heroic victory, but at the same time, as we've discussed in several different episodes, did we screw stuff up by doing this?
Yeah.
Was this the victory that it should have been?
Maybe the world should have ended here. Like that was kind of his job. Like Alduin was given this job by the god of time.
Right.
Yeah, maybe this like should have been how things ended. And now we've like kind of made the world just keep on going in a way that it never was designed to.
Yeah.
Like what happens?
The big remains to be seen.
What happens when you have something that's designed to be decommissioned and you keep on using it anyway?
Right.
Usually that doesn't work out so great.
Yeah. I'm very curious where the series will go in relation to this. Like, did this cause, I mean, it seems like there might be some rippling problems as a result of this, but it's, we haven't progressed farther enough in the timeline to know for sure. So I don't know. Is this Kelpa overreaching where it should be at this point because of what we did in Skyrim?
Overripe. Ooh. Nobody likes an overripe fruit.
Oof.
Yeah. It draws maggots and it gets all gooey and starts to, well, unless it gets really ripe and then it turns into like wine.
Oh, all right. So we got to just make it through we got to make it through the maggot version of the Kelpa to get to the booze version of the Kelpa.
Yes. You got to put it in a special container and then just keep it safe long enough until it ferments.
So we double down on it.
Yes. You just got to keep it going.
All right.
And just don't drink it for a while.
All right.
Yeah, that's my theory. All right, so a few other things that happen here. Sun is here, TSUN, and he congratulates you and teaches you Call of Valor, which summons a hero of Sovereign Guard. That was pretty good. I like that accent.
Again, seamless. It's like it's right out of the game.
Right out of the game.
Out of the game.
And then there's you're greeted by a large number of dragons at the throat of the world, and they do this little chant where they say a bunch of dragon things, which I'm not going to read because, well, you guys know. And then we have the whole dilemma with Parthenax, where if you didn't kill, you could have killed Parthenax, and if you didn't kill party snacks, then he has a final conversation with you
Right.
and expresses hope to convince other dragons to join the Way of the Voice
Right.
before flying off.
And we didn't go too much into it, but the reason you would kill Parthenax is because the blades are supposed to eliminate dragons. No exceptions. So
Yeah.
you could be a monster and kill Parthenax because you're a monster.
The blades are good, right?
Yeah, but that's the problem. It's like that's the first. I think the blades are really cool, but that was actually back when I first played this. I was like, whoa! There's gonna be some like, not everything's black and white here. There's some gray area, and like, what? How is that helping if we just kill Parthenax? Like that seems way too cut and dry because we're ended up at that point. It's like you're cutting off your hand to spite your face, and it's like, well,
Right.
we don't need to. There can be exceptions to the rule, which
Right.
there almost always are. And with the blades in this situation, there is none. They're just like, no, you absolutely need to get rid of him. He's a dragon. Like, so.
Yep. Also, Odahviing will admit an allegiance to you.
Yes.
So you can actually use the Thu'um to call him.
Yes.
He comes back and hangs out with you. He shows up.
Yep.
So that's a thing as well.
He's also useful.
And then the world moves on. The Dragonborn runs around and from this point in the game becomes, the leader of everything in Skyrim.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. And then you can kind of, I guess we should probably just touch on him. The story does kind of continue on with the Dragonborn expansion.
That's true. It's true.
Which that is further along the line. It's not like this could happen anywhere. You could technically not have the campaign finished, but you're still the Dragonborn.
Right.
But you actually encounter the first Dragonborn with a Hermaeus Mora Morrowind style expansion. I'll give everyone a moment to be shocked that this is like up there with Far Harbor as my favorite expansion in any video game ever, because it involves Morrowind and it involves Hermaeus Mora. Two things.
We'll have to recap that on a future episode.
Yeah, we'll need to do a full thing on that because that expansion is legitimately bigger than most games.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's some cool stuff that happens in it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess since that kind of draws an end to the main story, why is it, as there's so many, we've made points of bringing up the fact that it's kind of weird to just streamline these. Should we close with like, do you have like a side quest or another guild or anything like that you are particularly fond of from Skyrim, or anything that sticks out as like, oh, I specifically love this, even though it wasn't part of the main story itself?
Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff in Skyrim. I always go back to the Thieves Guild and the Dark Brotherhood stuff, just because of the nature of those quests.
Yes. I love some of the openness of the Dark Brotherhood quest line too. Some of them, you can end that quest line several different times without actually completing it, so to speak. Like there's that one has multiple ways to end that quest line at different points, which is really cool. I liked it a lot. Yeah. So I can definitely agree with that. I really like the Dark Brotherhood.
The companions are okay. The Mages Guild is okay. Like that stuff's fine.
Yeah, the Mages Guild I definitely always find weird because you don't really need to be a competent mage to become the Archmage, which is a kind of a running joke with the series.
Not at all. I'm always a little bit disappointed that you don't learn more like high powerful magic through that quest line.
So the one thing, and that's why actually I was going to mention the Mages Guild specifically, because one thing I do really like about the Mages Guild is if you can get your skill up to 100 and then talk to the correspondent. It's been so long since I've done this, so I could be getting some of the details of this a little off, but this is the ballpark of it. but you can, when you're a master of the school of Magicka that you're interested in, for example, like conjuration or whatever, you can get like a permanent summon of like a flame atronach and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I forget the exact details of it because it's been a long time since I'm actually going to be trying to redo it. But it's pretty cool. You do have some ability to get some pretty whacked out super spells if you're level 100. I think that's the requirement that you need, is to be 100 in the skill type, and then I think you might need to be the Archmage, but I'm not entirely sure if that's a requirement. And then you can find the corresponding trainer, and they'll like give you a little something extra that you can learn.
That's cool. Yeah, I usually don't play. I've tried to play mage playthroughs, but I rarely get that far into them.
Yes, and I play obsessive compulsive on everything, so I just need all of my skill trees to be at 100. And some of them legendary.
Nice. Yeah. Well, this is fun. So we'll be back next week, and
Sure
remember on Friday night instead of Thursday night. So if you are a patron or you'd like to join us on the patron episode, then make sure you remember that we will be doing it on Friday night instead of Thursday night. And Lotus, do you have anything else going on? You guys meeting this weekend for Tales of Tamriel?
Yes. So I was going to say, we've got Tales of Tamriel. Last weekend we had Doc from the UESP as well as Zero Period Productions both join, and we had an even more extended Skyrim anniversary edition, since both of them have very strong groundings in Skyrim. And it was a lot of fun. We got to reminisce about all that stuff, talk about some of our favorite things, what it meant to us. And this week actually will be, by the time this comes out, it won't matter, but for anybody at the live show, you get the very brief, and I mean really brief because it's like literally 12 hours. This weekend, we actually should be having a very special episode of Tales, barring anything going awry, where Deltia's Gaming, who has returned to Elder Scrolls Online earlier this year, is a big content creator way back from launch, and actually one of the original hosts of Tales of Tamriel 7 years ago, will be coming back on to discuss the returning and new player experience. So we're really excited for that, because it has been, I want to say, it's been at least 5 years since Deltia was actually on Tales of Tamriel.
Oh, wow.
So, and I certainly was not a host at that point. So this will be a lot of fun.
That's a long time.
It is a long time. And also, for anybody interested, since we're still on Skyrim, several people have actually taken to Extra Life to donate, to get entries. You have till December 1st for a chance to win the Metal Dragonstone that I had mentioned. So for every $1 donated to My Extra Life, just let me know that you're donating it, put your name, or just give me some type of receipt confirmation so that I can tell it's you. And on the 1st, I will draw a winner. So
nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, good luck with that, everybody.
Yeah.
And
I've had some very generous donations actually recently. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yep. Thank you, everybody. It goes to a very good cause.
Yeah, that's an awesome cause. And let's see. You guys know where all my podcasts are, robotsradio.net. Also, I just launched my book. I have a book called Video Game Podcasting for anybody who's interested in getting into podcasting about video games and wants to know how to do it, how to do it well, and also how to actually make a career out of it, or at least, make a little bit of money and make it a kind of a real thing. All my knowledge thrown into a book, and that's available on robotsradio.net/book if you want to go look that up. It's for sale. You're welcome to go check that out. And I'm also still trying to stream in the mornings at Twitch, or not on Twitch.
When your brain allows it?
When my brain allows it, on the Robots Radio YouTube channel. But I'm also creating videos as well about the Skyrim mods that are available. So I'll be continuing doing that as well. So if you're into Skyrim, want to look at some of the mods that are out, I will be updating that regularly with some new videos. So check out the channel. And that's what I've got going on. And we'll be back next week on Friday. So remember, one day later than usual. And if you're in the US, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. have a good time with your families. Hope that works out well for you guys. If you're seeing families, hope you stay safe. And until next time, also stay safe in Tamriel, because you never know when dragons are just going to pop out of nowhere and come back from time traveling or something. So
yeah, Futurada and all that.
All right, guys. See you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. If you have something you'd like to contribute to the show, please reach out to us at elderscrollslorecast@gmail.com or on Twitter @ESO Lorecast. I really appreciate you listening, and I'd love to hear from you soon.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.